LPT Request: How do I comfort my grandma who keeps attending funerals? My grandma keeps going to one funeral after another, and I struggle to find the right words to comfort her. It's a unique situation because it's not just a one-time loss, it keeps happening. Any suggestions on what I can say to make her feel better? Be there for her. Have compassion for her grief and her fears for her own mortality. Let her say what she wishes about these things. No need to question her about how she feels. Ask her to share good memories, funny stories about the loved ones she has lost. Mine had a very big family and she was the youngest, so lots of siblings dying before her. I just held her hand and rubbed her back when she cried, just so she knew she wasn't alone. Then outside of the funeral I'd make sure to spend lots of time with her, stopping in just to say hi even if I didn't have a lot of time, inviting her to my place or taking her places with me. Spend time with her doing something fun. The last half of life can be very sad. There are so many losses. Don't let her isolate herself. My Nan lost all of her friends, so towards the end of her life she completely shut herself off. She was rude and mean to people she didn't know, which she never did before. It took me a while to realize that she was doing it because she didn't want to lose any more people she loved, so she pushed everyone away as a way to protect herself. She became very unhappy because of this isolation, so try to help keep her connecting with people. Organize socials. Find events or things she can do. I'm not sure, but I think being there is important so she doesn't feel alone. I lost 2 people I loved this year and it helps me to know others will be there for me at the end. Ask her to share her life stories with those whom she's losing. It'll allow her to reflect on the life she's lived and the good times and help these events be more of a celebration than a moment to grieve. Take her to the park and walk around or sit on a bench and people watch. Go to the movies. Go out for a meal at a restaurant. Just spend time with her. She'll appreciate that more than anything you can say to her. It will get her mind off the bad, even it's just temporary. My mom stopped going to funerals around 70. She is now 85 and the only person still alive out of her group of 20 or so friends. She said it's just too hard on her. Might be something to that. Sit and listen to her. Tell me about this person, Grandma. How did you know them? What were they like? What was the best time you had together? Etc. Words are not enough and all sound hollow in grief. I find they are far more for the person speaking than being spoken to. Just be there for her and help her create joyful memories spending time together. Find what she wants to truly spend her time doing and help her do it. I lost my grandma this summer and this is my perspective on going through grief. Also honoring my grandma as I was visiting when she passed. She told me she thought she would do a lot more reading in retirement. But by the time she retired she couldn't see well enough to read. I took that to mean do what you want while you can. If you live long enough you get to attend lots of funerals and be lucky enough to stay out of the box. It's just a stage of life. Yes, it's sad, but it's also interesting to hear how people's life stories are told, etc. Ask her about the deceased. Ask her their favorite memory. Death is a part of life and at her age she is most likely facing her own mortality. Also ask her, I'm 60-ish. I'm not afraid of death. It is part of the circle of life. With my grandma, don't worry Grandma, you'll get your chance. This is the reality of growing old. I am 65. I have lost so many friends over the last few years, most a bit older. As you age your relatives and friends do too. Your GMA is sad, but the best thing you can do is stay involved with Grandma and show her you love her. You don't need to do anything special except say I'm sorry when someone dies. As long as you call her regularly and spend what time with her you can. Actions speak louder than words is absolutely true. The hugs my son has given me are worth more than flowers, cards, or words. 100. Old people go to a lot of funerals. My mother went to a couple a month in her later years. It's part of life. Either you die early or all your friends die before you. You're next? Seriously, just be kind, console her, and be thankful that she's still around. Would she find it funny if you made her a punch card? Are there babies coming along to replace those who have passed on? I get nearly daily pictures of my grandniece and I'm amazed at how much I adore that little creature. I'm head over heels. I'm sorry for your loss. Would you like to tell me something about him, her, or would you like me to distract you with a nice walk and a coffee after? It must suck, and I would guess that she sometimes wanna talk and sometimes just move on. Let her take the lead. Let her talk about her losses. Lane, the last 25 years. I've lost my mom, my first grandson, my dad, my best friend, my aunt, my last 3 grandparents, and 3 cousins. I have to talk it out to be able to cope. If you live long enough you'll see this happen. It's unfortunately a part of life. My grandpa, when asked if he wanted to visit home, was like, why? Everyone I ever knew is dead. It's a hard truth being the last one out the door. You can't change these facts of life. But you can enjoy and appreciate today. The time you spend together. The life lived in the moment. So, just spend time, play a card game. Watch a movie. Read a book together. Just chat. That's what we have. And one day the tide will wash all the sandcastles we build away. Gone and forgotten. That's why building them in the now is so precious. This is where dark humor comes in. I try to reshape it as if she's winning a game and beating all the people who have died before her. Keep the wedding funeral ratio 4:1 and he should appreciate the humor of it. If the rite of funerals is important to her, then maybe the 2 of you should sit down for an afternoon and plan your own funerals. A good grandmother-grandchild bonding exercise. Things that you would like. And things you wouldn't like. Who does the eulogy? What music? Catering? I imagine you are 40 years younger than her. But she might like knowing that she had input planning your funeral. Many years after she has already gone. It's okay. Your turn is coming up soon. Question mark. Just be there for her. Maybe go out for breakfast or a walk in the park if she's able to. At her age, she understands and is familiar death. That doesn't make loss easier. But she's old enough to process and cope with death. Hold her close. Look into her eyes and with a slow, small nodding motion say, always the bridesmaid. Never the bride. Don't worry. One day that will be you up there. Maybe break up the monotony of all the funerals with a fun day at the beach or something. Ask her about the friends who died. Talk. Being there, that's what counts. No magic words will help, just be there and help how you can. There is nothing to say. This is coming from the grandson who had to tell his 100-year-old grandmother that the last of her 11 siblings had died. My humor is macabre, so I'd ask her to make lists of what she liked and disliked so her own send-off will be off the chain amazing. Depending on her own humor, of course. Another fun thing is to do something in honor of each friend that has moved on. One loved movies? Go see their favorite movie in a theater. One loved food? Have a nice meal. In their memory. I find it's all about the little moments that help us get through the larger ones. I had a few years like that. She doesn't need to feel better, at least not right away. Ask her instead what her best memories are of the person who died. You're going to learn a lot about your grand's life. Write it down. Being there and knowing she has someone to reminisce with is the best help. Big hug to Gran.